Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Telling It Like It Is Facebook Live. My name is Jade Alberts, and it is a beautiful day. You got baseball playoffs, hockey has started, CFL football, NFL football. And one of the reasons why I am talking sports is because my guest today is Duncan Sourisseau of OHMY. Duncan, how are you today?
I'm good, Jade. Thanks for having me.
I know. Obviously, we're both big baseball fans, and that's how we met. And our senior men's team, the Longhorns, have done business with you. You've done business with a lot of teams in our league. So when I talk about networking and a lot of the ways that I've connected with my guests, that sports is the way to go for us.
Yes, absolutely. Baseball's been very good to me in that aspect. Is as far as connecting with guys and making friendships for life, and then now on the business side, certainly helping out as well.
Oh, I know. It is great, and it's so good to find somebody that you can trust and use to especially make your apparel. I know I'll be wearing it. I'll show a few samples. You're wearing it right now too. So that you know what? Why don't I just do that right now? I don't know where I put my shirts, but I know I'm wearing the one that you made for our Canadian Nationals team, and I know I got the shirts. I don't know where I put them, but the quality work that you make and you do, I know it has starting to spread around Calgary in the sports industry, and you got to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said, it kind of when you start doing one for a team and they say, "Hey, we're a baseball guy," and you go, "Well, I played college ball and I'm a baseball guy too," and you usually find somebody on their team or who used to play for them or who they played against that and as much as it's a big community, it's also a very small one, and that just kind of builds that trust right off the bat. And then, I mean, you always want to do a good job, regardless of who you're working for. But there's that little extra bit when it's keeping it within the family, I guess, with the baseball community.
Yeah, no doubt. That is for sure. And it is, as you said, it might be a small community, but it's also a very loyal community too. So once you get one, you seem to get everybody.
Yeah. Especially with that senior men's league. I got one that first year through, I can't even remember who was the first. I think you guys might have been the first one.
I think we were, yeah.
Through another guy up in Oyen, and then it was like, oh, you did one for him, we want one, and then as soon as the Longhorns had one, then other guys were like, well, we know you, we want your shirts too, and yeah. So I like all the post game pictures everybody puts up where everybody's having a beer and hanging out together, and there's like this team, like.
Everybody's wearing all my stuff.
Collection for me to take a look at sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'll do a brief introduction and then we'll get into it here. So Duncan is the founder of OHMY, which stands for Out Hustle My Yesterday, and it's a post-game apparel brand for athletes. They have their own line of gear and specialize in custom off-field, off-ice, or off-court apparel, hence the post-game apparel. They are made and designed by athletes, for athletes, and for the love of the game. So when we met and then we had a coffee and you told me your story about how it started and how you had to abandon your passion, but you found your way back. And I think that's a really interesting entrepreneurial journey. So why don't you please share that with us?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking about this actually this morning, going back to like even as far as lemonade stands when you were a kid, and like I got to thank my mom for that, I guess, based on she used to charge me for the lemonade that I use. So like at an early age, you learn costs and stuff and how to mark up things. And I remember with my buddy even going and buying packs of 5 bubble gum and splitting them up and selling them individually or whatever. And
yeah.
So, I mean, as a kid, you did that. But I mean, then, yeah, I was going to school and was done playing college ball and was bored. And so I'd started a clothing brand, rest in peace, GFI. It didn't work. But it was much like a college co-op program, and I learned a ton from that. And then when that kind of fizzled out, and yeah, I took a couple jobs and just kind of thought, well, I guess this is what you do. You grow up and get a job and pay some bills and away you go, kind of thing. And then I was working at Site One Landscape Supply with a couple buddies, and my manager there, Joel, he was really great at kind of showing me the back end of how things work with margin and supply chain and where we were sourcing things from, and really letting me have that kind of hands-on approach. And then I mean, we live in Canada, so it snows and you don't sell very many landscape supplies in the winter. And so you're sitting around and there's stuff you can do at the office. But I mean, a guy like me, my brain starts turning and I was trying to figure out what to do. And sport and art had always kind of been the two things that helped me balance my life. And
yeah,
I literally just started drawing in my sketchbook and trying to figure out what this could be. And should it be just baseball specific or sport specific, and kind of what that could look like. And then that was kind of how I landed on OHMY. And like you said in the intro, like I really tried to figure out what's my elevator pitch? If it's post game, well, how do I say that? Right. And so it was off ice, off field, and it didn't quite feel right. And then I don't know if I'm the only one that coined post game, but I came up with it in my own head. So go with that. As far as really trying to carve out a niche in this market, because it is such a kind of popular market that people like trying to work in. So.
No, for sure. And I guess you mentioned OHMY, and I mean, it's something that when people look at it, if they don't go check out your website or they don't know what it is, I mean, we said it's Out Hustle My yesterday. You know, how did you come up with that name?
Yeah. Well, so I had a really good art program in high school that I went to, and a really good art teacher, Jennifer Kirkwood. I don't know if she's on Facebook, but if she is, and we used to do this thing in our sketchbook where you started with one word and you just ran with it for 2 minutes at a time. Whatever came to mind, you just kept writing. And so I think the word in my sketchbook, I could find it here, but it was like sports. And then from there I went down and broke it down. And then somehow I landed on OHMY. And that part was like what the announcers say, right? If you listen to a top 10 today and a guy makes a great play and they can't help it, and, oh my, look at that play. And I was like, okay, that's something. Now, I knew it had to be deeper than that, because I wasn't just going to be Nike and I couldn't just put something on a chest right away and have it be a success. And so then I started trying to figure out what could those letters stand for. And I had Out Hustle figured out. And I mean, being a small guy that made it as far as I did in my sports career, I was like, hey, you have to hustle. So Out Hustle. And I was trying to figure out what those last two letters could be. And a couple of my buddies were in on this, like, hey, we're starting. What are you trying to do? And I was like, man, I'm stuck. Like, I've got OHMY, I've got Out Hustle. And my buddy just texted me. He's like, what about my yesterday? Mm-hmm. And he texted it and he's like, man, think on it. Like, it's okay. You don't have to use it. And I texted back. I'm like, that's it. Like, as soon as I heard it, I knew. And I was just like, okay, this works. And I might have sat on it for a day just to be like totally sure. But as soon as I heard that, I went, okay, and what are we trying to do as athletes? We are trying to get better than we were the day before. And this is just kind of a condensed way of saying it. And I think it really works. So.
Oh no, I love the name. I love the logo as well. And if anybody's watching here, I'm talking to Duncan of OHMY. The website is up there. You can also click on the website in the comments section to head to check out all the stuff that he sells. So you mentioned a few really neat things there. And one thing that I liked when we met was your process on how you come up with designs. I mean, there's so many, whether it be the Wolfpack or the Longhorns or the Giants in our baseball league, and then you start getting into other, you always come up with something unique, but you kind of do an old school process before you get to new school, you know, get into the technology, which I thought was really, really neat. And I don't know if a lot of people do that, but, you know, share your process.
Yeah. I think that it just goes back to I never thought I was that good of an artist. And like that high school art program that I was in, like those guys are like, now they're like getting paid to paint. Like they were really good. So I was always like, man, I stink. Like these guys are way better than me. And I'm just sitting here drawing baseball players or whatever, like kind of thing. And so, but what that did is that really did ground me in my sketchbook and really showed me how that process, kind of the artistic process works. And so with any new design, when any team comes to me, the first thing I do is I go right to my sketchbook, and whether it's words or little scribbles or actually starting to kind of conceptualize and come up with the design, that's where I go. And you look in the sketchbook and most people go like, well, that's trash. Like, how's that going to turn out to be anything? But it makes sense for me, and I've kind of mapped out what I want to see. And then from there, then that's when I get on the computer and Illustrator or whatever, and then create the the vector designs and whatnot so that they're not all grainy, and I deal with enough of that when teams send me, hey, here's our logo, and it's a tiny little thumbnail, but that's all right. It keeps me employed, so I'm all right with them sending me that. It gives me something to do.
Yeah, most team managers are, what's a vector? Here it is.
Yeah.
I took a screenshot. Here it is.
Side of it too that it comes in, but
you can work with the screenshot, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, that's funny. I mean, it's and I do. You come up with so many unique designs. I mean, even like I love this one, and I mean, I'll stand up and show where for our baseball nationals. I mean, the Calgary Tower, and of course, it's a baseball bat and a little outline. I mean, it's such. Yep. It's kind of so unique that I think it took you one try to come up with this, and it's very. I guess it's a very unique situation when everybody on our team goes, "Oh my God, that's it." Mm-hmm. Like not one person said, "Oh, change this," and it was like done. So I guess that's a credit to your artistic ability and obviously your background and your teacher. If he's on Facebook.
Well, I appreciate that, but that's to me, it's so fun. It's like you're creating this logo, and like I go back, me and my buddy Cam used to draw logos on hockey jerseys, like in our sketchbooks, like in grade like 3, and we were like trying to design hockey masks and whatever. And I was like, well, I stink at airbrush, so I can't do it on a goalie's mask, but like I can come up with what I want to put on a chest or a shirt or whatever, right? So it's like you just kind of carve out your little niche in what you're good at, and
no, for sure. So I guess
some people think I'm good at it, so I just keep doing it.
Well, I mean, I think everybody thinks that you're good at it. Obviously, for from what I see, all of a sudden, we were one of the first teams to have it, and all of a sudden, 2 years later, I walk around the baseball diamond, I can walk around the dinos or wherever I am, and I'm seeing OHMY gear everywhere. So, I guess that's your artistic ability is starting to pay off. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I like it, keeps me involved in the game, right? And then it gives you an excuse to go out to your guys' BP or show up at the UFC practice one day, and just even to drop off the shirts is that's always a fun day. I get a lot more Christmas days than most in terms of when I get to deliver the box gear when it's all bagged up with a band and everything. So no, it's a lot of fun.
So now you mentioned, you did mention before talking about you dropped the Nike bomb, so to say, and obviously there's a lot of.
Bill Knight, if you're listening, let's work together.
Exactly. I mean, obviously it's an extremely competitive market, and even local sports shops that can, do the jackets, do shirts, do all that stuff as well. So I guess. I mean, how do you compete against these guys? How do you obviously, you're your own brand and OHMY, and how do you differentiate yourself? We've talked about this a little bit, but how do you think you'll continue to grow your market?
Yeah, so I mean that's a great question. Was I think learning from the last brand that I had that I tried to do something for everyone.
Yeah,
and so with OHMY, the first thing was okay, this is post-game apparel. And it's for athletes. Doesn't mean if you're a musician you can't buy it. It just means I'm not thinking about you.
Yeah.
And it's post game, so I'm right off the bat. I'm not trying to compete with the guys making your jerseys. I'm not trying to be your dry fit shirt that you have to wear under your jersey. I want to be the one that you hang up in your locker, that you take a little bit extra care of, but that still shows that you're an athlete and you identify like that. So you want to rock my stuff post game or pre game, but that kind of thing helped me as far as your mission in terms of this is who we are, and then as far as I guess how you compete, I like that I'm the little guy. I like that I'm the underdog. I like that I don't have to have a year-long campaign with something, right? Somebody sends me a text and is like, "Hey man, I heard this thing. My team wants this." Yeah, sure. Here's a design. And it's in 2 days or in a day or in an hour if I need it. The one time with Vauxhall, Les goes like, "Hey, we need a shirt, but my guy's leaving in a week." And I go, "Okay, drop everything, send him a design in an hour." And then I call my printer or whatever, and I'm going like, "Hey, I need a favor. This is Vauxhall. Can we do this?" Yeah. Okay. And we delivered. Right. And so you can't, sure, maybe some of those big companies could pull that off if you knew the right person to talk to, right? But being this small, you have that ability to pivot when you need to. You have that ability to connect personally with people. I can answer all the messages from the 14-year-old kid that goes like, hey, I just made my Bantam AA team, and I can give them a shout out, and I'm not too cool a brand to do that, right? And so I hope yeah, you want to get bigger and grow this thing, absolutely, but it's like I hope you don't get too big that you forget those roots, right? Like I still write a handwritten card to everybody that orders, and I don't care that a guy, maybe not you, but like a consultant would say like, that's not scalable, you can't do that. Try me, I want to, right? Like those are the things that I don't think you have to sacrifice that to grow and to be successful, right? Like, so
I agree. No, I mean, I think that's bang on. And I've come from a lot of even a sales background. And you mentioned the note. I wrote a handwritten note to every single sale I made, and I dropped it off and delivered and made sure my number and email was on the card. And even before email, really, I mean, it would just be a phone number. But I do agree with that. And you said being able to pivot, being able to do that. I mean, I'm a small business gentleman too. And I mean, what Jade Alberts Consulting can do, some bigger person can't do, because there's processes. Whereas someone will email me and say, hey, yeah, I'll meet you in 5. I'll meet you tomorrow. 9 o'clock work for you? Boom. Let's sit down, talk. I may not exchange, we may not do business together, but I may help them, give them a few good ideas that sets them on their way to success. So I think you don't always have to be the biggest, and you don't always have to grow. I mean, I tell so many businesses that, you know what, you've got a great life. You've got a great, work-life balance, whatever it be, whatever your life sits at right now. And if you like it, you can maintain it and be happy. It doesn't have to go to $2 million, $3 million, $4 million. Right. Some people get caught up in that, the big picture stuff, and it's not for everybody. So, not to say that it's not going to be for you. And, if you turn into a $1 million, $10 million company, that's awesome. If that's your goal.
Yeah. Hey, but our margins will be lower because the CEO will be writing handwritten notes and paying somebody else to do some other part of it.
Oh, exactly. Well, that is true. Well, that kind of rolls into my next question. And it's a simple question. Like, what's next for yourself and for OHMY?
Yeah, so I do get asked this a lot. I have other friends that are entrepreneurs and business owners too, and they're always like, "Well, yeah, so it's been a year since you've been full time with it and running it for just about 3 now. Like, what do you do? Where's the next step? What's the next?" Right? Like, because that is something that we think about. And the simple answer is you want to grow it. Obviously, I want to continue. I have a little whiteboard here. And so I want to build it. I also want to give back as far as grassroots goes and continue to be that brand that people can connect with that way. Yeah. And then we just want to inspire. Like I want to be able to help athletes at that kind of middle school, high school age to say like, okay, I put in this work. There is another level for me. I put in that time and something can happen. And that doesn't mean we have to be the connection to the college or anything like that. But if we're the brand that kind of helps inspire them and keeps them in the classroom or keeps them in the sport a little bit longer and so that they kind of get that college experience that we had, I mean, then that would be another thing that I want to add, another piece that I'd like to add with OHMY. And I haven't exactly figured out how that works, but certainly exploring options and always open to kind of connecting with people like yourself and other people in the community and saying like, hey, how do we do this? Right. Like we have some athletes wearing our gear, right, that are local. So is it like you have a celebrity bowling thing featuring Soroka and everything goes to Kids Sport or everything goes to his foundation if he starts starting one as he keeps going, right? Or people like that, right? It's like we think about those things. And like you said, I mean, yeah, you want to grow it and you want to make good money, but it's at the end of the day, if you don't have that team, I mean, it's very team oriented for me too, right? And it's like, if you don't have that team behind you or you're not giving back to your community and kind of helping the people that got you there, like pretty lonely at the top, I would think, right? So I want to continue to engage that community and kind of feed it that way. And then also like, stop getting these shitty Gildan shirts. Like that's the other thing. Like, can we just educate people? Like, yeah, it feels great until you wash it, and then it's cardboard. Like, quit it. Like, just don't get anything. Like, your kid will thank you because they don't have to wear that junk. Like, I don't know. Like, I go back and forth.
I agree with that.
Yeah, if I just go back and forth, like, should I have my own podcast just blasting everybody that ever ordered those things? But
oh no, that is funny. Those shirts are just awful. It's amazing how your taste in quality changes when once you start wearing something that's nice and not even that much more expensive, to be quite honest with you. Like,
no, it's just, I don't know.
No, it's amazing. I mean, especially when we were with Nathan's, and we had obviously a lot of gear and designed our own gear, and a good shout out to Kim Weeding, who we worked with there, and she was awesome. And with Grit Media, I know here's a little free one for you. One of our successful campaigns was the most unique, not the farthest away, but the most unique shot where somebody was wearing their Nathan shirt.
Yeah.
And there's a free idea. Maybe you've done it already. I have no idea, but we got tons and tons and tons of posts, and we gave away a bunch of free stuff to the people that won it. And I think we had the top 3 prizes, and I think we've got like, if I don't quote me on it, but it was like 200 or 350 actual posts on our social media, and social media was just basically Facebook back then. So it was a huge campaign, and we loved it. It got us a lot of notoriety around the world. So
no, I like that a lot, and I would like.
And it wasn't our idea. We stole it from someone else. So
yeah, no, that's smart.
I always say my favorite department, whether it would be in Nathan's or now, is R&C, and that's research and copy. So it's let the McDonald's and all the people that have the billions of dollars figure out what works in marketing, and then we'll just slide our little tweaks to it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I got to give a big shout out to Team OHMY, because the people are so supportive with it, and then just on it with like, hey, we're here, hey, we're in Hawaii, hey, we're this, hey, we're rocking this, and I mean, I think that's a little bit of a testament to the quality of it, but then also just the people buy in and just connecting with that community is great. So.
No, for sure. Well, the last question I have is it's always the same one, and obviously you went through, your first business that didn't work, and then went into the workforce, and now obviously being successful with OHMY. If you had one piece of advice for a startup, a small business, an entrepreneur, what would that be, Duncan?
I think you got to be true to you, right? Like, I mean, yeah, that's a little bit corny, but it is okay to say who you are and what you want to be as your business. That doesn't mean it's going to be successful, but it at least helps you to identify who's out there that thinks the same, or if this is a good idea, right? But if we're just kind of pretending like, we're a athletic apparel brand, it's like, well, what does that even mean, right? And so I really think that right from the beginning, when you have no followers or when nobody knows who you are, it's like you have to just continually pound that message of this is what we are, this is who we are, plant that flag, whatever you want to, whatever the buzzwords are that you want to use, right? It's just you have to stay true to your brand and your vision and that kind of thing, and then from there, that's how you kind of create that community and that loyal following and connect with the people that really are think like-minded and want to be involved in the business in one way or another, right? Or as a customer, as potentially a partner, or whatever it turns out to be, right? Or just a client over and over, right? But I really think that's the biggest thing that I've seen, is that it just helps clear out some of that noise, right? Hey, can you do our jerseys? Yeah, it's not really my thing, but let me tell you somebody that can. Okay, great. Thanks, Duncan. Okay, awesome. Now on to the next thing. Hey, can you do we need a hoodie because we need something we wear on the bus. Absolutely. Let me talk to you. Let's make this happen, right? And it just kind of, it helps that the road's windy as you and other kind of OG entrepreneurs could attest to, right? I'm just a young buck in this game, right? But the road's going to be windy anyways, right? So the more that I think you can kind of have a focus on where you're headed, I just think that helps.
No, I think that's great advice, and I know you misspoke there. They're called bunny hugs, not hoodies.
Oh, geez, yeah, it's a caption coming out.
And I mean,
yeah, I know my market. When I sell them in Saskatchewan, that's how I write my email.
Exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned like a wily old vet like myself, but I'll tell you, I have learned some of the best advice I have got is from working with some of these kids in startup and startup companies or young entrepreneurs. I'll tell you, it's some of the ideas they come up with and watching them work. It's been inspiring for me. It is amazing. So I love that, being true to yourself. That's
the
awesome.
other thing I would say. Keep learning, right? Like that's the biggest thing.
Always.
I don't know anything, right? Like just go in with that. Yes, you have your kind of what you believe in your brand, and you do want to stay true to that, but then also like just listen. Take that little time to listen, and then you filter it out, and then trust your gut with it. But there's, like you said, I mean, I've learned so much just from sitting down and having a coffee with somebody in the industry. You might not even sit and talk to realtors, and you go like, I don't need to know how to sell a house, but what can I pick up from you, or what do you know, or what can we talk about with client relations or anything like that, right? Like I just really think,
No, absolutely. Continuous learning is so important, and obviously getting out and sharing your story like this is awesome. And I really appreciate you coming on today, Duncan. Thank you so much for spending 25 minutes with us and our followers.
Yeah, no, I thank you very much for having me. This is my podcast debut, so it was a ton of fun. I've been saying I wanted to get on one for a while, just kind of jokingly. So I appreciate you having me. Give me a chance.
Well, it is. It's a kind of, as I tell people, there's a lot of, I get that same response saying, oh God, I've never been on Facebook Live. I've never done live. I'm never like, you know what? It's literally like you and I sitting having a coffee. It's very nonchalant and very, very casual. So it's, and the thing I like about it is there's not a lot of editing. It's more authentic rather than sitting down and having to do 2.5 hours of taking all the ums and ahs out because supposedly we don't speak properly, but that's just the way I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate it. Again, anybody that wants to look up, it's teamohmy.com. It is in the comment section. So all you have to do is click on the link and it'll take you directly to the website. So again, Duncan, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. And baseball starts in what? A couple hours?
Yeah, we got a couple hours of work before baseball starts. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks, Jade.
Okay.